Prologue. Dear Patrick, I'm writing to you after many years of silence. The last time I saw you was when you were a child. I'm sure you don't remember me very well and wonder why I'm in contact with you now. Believe me, I wanted to make contact for a long time, but I was worried about how your father would react. After the tragic accident that killed your mother, I lost all contact with you. A month ago, I finally decided to seek you out. Unfortunately, I found out that Roger is no longer alive. I'm so sorry. If I had known, I would have tried to contact you sooner. You and your sister Evelyn are my last living relatives. I feel the weight of old age, the loneliness sometimes weighs on me, and I know that one day may be my last. I would like to meet you again, and I would like to invite you to my mansion. You can stay with me for a few days. I have plenty of room. I look forward to hearing from you and seeing you soon. Yours sincerely, your Uncle Philip Pillsworth. Chapter 1. The Journey. Two pairs of blue eyes hypnotized the clock in the corner of the room. Johnny and Jessie d'Amberville sat in their desks, trying to pay attention to their teacher's speech. That, of course, seemed almost impossible. In a few minutes, the bell was about to ring not only for the end of class, but for the end of the school year. Traditionally, the last class of secondary school students ended with the deterrent examples of accidents that had happened to former students during the holidays. The stories sent chills down everyone's spine. The teacher, Margaret Smith, wore a light blue outfit, the same colour as the summer sky on a beautiful afternoon. Her petite but upright figure exuded authority and respect. No one knew how old she really was. Her plump face had almost no wrinkles. Only her grey hair, neatly combed into a rich bun on top of her head, showed signs of age. Johnny and Jessie, did you hear what I said? Margaret asked the twins. They both shook their heads at the same moment to indicate that they were paying attention, but they did not take their eyes off the clock on the wall. Without looking to the teacher, Johnny turned to his sister. Sensing his gaze, Jessie nudged her brother with her elbow, and he turned back to the clock on the wall as if on command. Margaret had seen some exceptional pupils in her long teaching career, and the d'Amberville siblings were among the most gifted by the age of 14. Both were talented in mathematics and logical reasoning, as was their father, whom coincidentally she had also taught years before. Patrick d'Amberville was one of the best students of her career. When the school bell finally rang, Margaret realised she had stopped keeping track of time. Have a great holiday, and I look forward to seeing you all again in September, she said to the beaming faces of her pupils. Their cheerful mood instantly made her feel happy, and she smiled as they began to slowly file out of the classroom. Johnny and Jessie, lest I forget, I have some more maths tasks for you. I happened to find them in my desk. I thought you might find them useful for next year's maths contest. Besides, I don't want you clever minds to get out of practice, she said, handing them the folded paper. The siblings looked at each other in disbelief, but their conscientiousness did not allow them to object. Fortunately, Jessie was the first to recover from her shock and dutifully took the paper from the teacher with a thank you. Let's get out of here quick before she loads us up with more examples, she hissed, trying to squeeze as fast as she could out of the classroom. As they passed a classmate, Miles Dehy, They overheard him say to Tony Flanders, "Do you believe me now?" She stared at them again, adoringly, almost like to a phantom. Both Johnny and Jessie knew that Miles was talking about them. All the classmates were teasing them about the teacher. They were often taunted that she liked them and favoured them with their grades. They both knew that wasn't true, and they weren't getting any favouritism. Teacher Smith loved maths, and since they were good at it, she often praised them in front of the whole class. "Don't mind him," Jessie whispered into Johnny's ear and pushed him to keep walking. Johnny hesitated, just a little, but knew there was no point getting involved with Miles. They walked out of the classroom into the hallway and began to fight their way to the stairs. They were almost there when Miles and Tony stepped into their path. Their sturdy figures were intimidating to most of the boys in the school. They both towered over Johnny and Jessie by half a head, so the siblings had to tilt their heads a little to see into their hateful eyes. "Ah, here are our teacher's pets," smiled Miles mischievously. Johnny frowned at Miles and clenched his hands into a fist. Miles was a little surprised by Johnny's reaction. He had never seen him fight with someone before and paused for a few seconds. Jessie took advantage of that moment. She grabbed Johnny's hand and quickly weaved him away between the other kids. "Are you going to let them get away?" Tony said incredulously, looking at the twins' disappearing backs. "Just let the cowards get away," Miles replied, unmoved. "I'll keep an eye on the teacher's favourites next year," he thought. Johnny and Jessie quickly ran out of the school and ran to the black Range Rover where their mother, Anna, was waiting for them. She had a tall, slender figure and the same brown curly hair as her daughter. Her pretty appearance was enhanced by blue eyes and sensuously full lips. She had picked the children up from school today as an exception, as she was off work. It only took them 10 minutes to get home. The D'Amberville family lived in a suburb of London. The locals took great pride in the appearance of their front gardens and tried to keep them as varied and tidy as possible. The smell of freshly mown grass and squirrels running around nearby added to the splendour of the local neighbourhood. Anna turned off the road onto the paved driveway of house number 6. She pulled up beside another black Range Rover. "Great, Dad's home!" Johnny exclaimed, quickly jumping out of the car and running home, followed by his sister. "Dad, what are you doing here? I thought you weren't coming home from work until tonight," Jessie chirped. "I wanted to surprise you. I finished early." Patrick winked at the kids and gave Anna a quick kiss on the cheek. "Dad, I can't wait to go to Uncle Philip's," Johnny said unexpectedly. "I'm especially looking forward to having Chris and Jack there with us. I'm sure a holiday with the cousins will be great." "Daddy, tell us about Uncle Philip," Jessie begged. Patrick took a breath and closed his eyes for a moment to collect his thoughts. His family had found out about his uncle a few days ago when they received a letter from him. He didn't know much about Philip himself. He just felt he was a bit of a strange character. He didn't want to admit it, but subconsciously he suspected that a visit to his uncle would have a deeper meaning than it might first appear. He was his late mother's brother. Patrick never really acknowledged that he missed his mother so much. The last memories he had of her had faded over the years. He'd thought about her more in the last few days than he had in his entire life. He felt a little guilty, but it was better for him to forget than to wallow in sadness. He hoped that meeting Uncle Philip would shed some light on his mother's life and shed some light on the strange relationship between him and his father. He knew it would be a one-sided view of things past, but Philip was the only relative who knew both his parents. I haven't heard of Uncle Philip since I was a boy. There's not much I can tell you about him. I didn't even know he was still alive. I remember he was very close to my mother, and my father only put up with him for her sake. After she died, something happened between them, and we haven't seen him since. Maybe my father blamed him for my mother's death, but that's just my guess. It was all very painful when we lost my mother. I was trying to protect Evelyn. I never understood what happened then. I don't even have a picture of my uncle to show you. That's probably why I never talked about him, Patrick finished. We'll all visit this mysterious uncle tomorrow, Anna smiled.